Hello, it is December 2022 and this is a summary video to show the results of my disk dock testing. Now in front of you are 5 docks, but the story starts with the fact that this otherwise reliable Silverstone dock, which I've had for many years, it's a MS09 dock, has stopped working. I suspect inside it's just that the SSD drive has actually flaked out with all that use. So it contains an SSD SATA drive in M.2 format, and it's in the days before NVME drives were really, PCI Express drives were around. So that's kind of a drive that's limited to, pretty much theoretically 550 megabytes per second. That's the SATA standard. At the moment it's 0 megabytes per second because it's broken. So that led me to consider what I might replace it with. Now I already have a second drive, which is a Silverstone MS11, and this is a few years old now, and this contains an NVMe, a PCI Express drive, and it's that the drive, when I bought the drive, was several years old. It can probably manage, the bare speed of the drive is over 1000 megabytes per second, but inside this caddy, which is not a Thunderbolt 3 caddy, it's just a plain old USB caddy, it can't achieve that fast speed. So instead, I've got these 3 devices. Now the first device I use for testing purposes. It's a standard non-Thunderbolt 3 dock made by this company called Acasis, who I highly recommend. And this dock is just something you can put your NVMe drive into. You put it in just like that. It's a bare dock, and then you plug in your USB drive. You can see how fiddly it is. There you go. You plug that into the USB interface. It comes with that cable, this cable that has 2 ends to it. Again, this is not a Thunderbolt 3 dock. Which brings us on to these 2 docks, which are the ones in consideration, which I wanted to replace my broken drive with. Which of the 2 was it going to be? And the first is this DockCase product, and there's a separate video on this drive, and it's amazing in the sense that it's actually got an LCD screen here. Unbelievable. And also it's got a backup battery inside. So its unique selling point, it's got this LCD screen which tells you the drive firmware level, how many writes you've had, also the temperature and the voltage supply. So that's quite amazing, but that is not a Thunderbolt 3 dock. So the only Thunderbolt 3 dock that I've been testing is, again, this Acasis dock. This is a Thunderbolt 3 dock, and inside that dock you can place a single NVMe drive. And what are the results? Well, there's lots of bits of paper here where I've been diligently writing down all the results. But the overall result is, if you want to stop after this summary point, is that although this dock gives the best speed and is Thunderbolt 3 capable, the computers to which I'm connecting it to are basically the limitation. Now my Windows computer doesn't have Thunderbolt 3, so when this gets plugged in, it only manages a standard USB 3.2 connection. And even when this is connected to 2 different Apple computers, there is a slowdown when I'm copying files over 20 gigabytes. And that slowdown, by the way, it does not happen with this good old-fashioned dock, because it doesn't go fast enough. So when I'm copying at Thunderbolt 3 speeds from this drive to the Mac Mini, or from this drive to the MacBook, then there is a slowdown. So although this can actually be written to at an astonishing 3 gigabytes per second, I can't write it back at that speed. So the actual figures are, let's have a little look-see on the Mac Mini. Let's have a look at the figures. So you'll see that on the MacBook Air M2, I wrote to the drive, all these test files are 40 gigabytes in size, single 40 gigabyte file. I've done smaller single file test, but this is where you can really see the difference. So in my 40 gigabyte file transfer test, you can write to this dock, the super duper dock, in 26 seconds basically. But writing back takes 106 seconds. And if you compare my now almost ancient MS11 drive, which I have misplaced, but that old drive is able, here's the drive, so this is the old ancient MS11 drive which I've had for many years, that writes to the drive in 109 seconds and writes back in 103 seconds. So this modern Thunderbolt 3 dock is no faster at transferring back to the Apple computer, and that's on the MacBook Air M2. And if we compare that with the Mac Mini M1, I know most YouTubers, they'll be doing graphs and everything. Anyway, I'm going to show you figures because you're intelligent people. You can understand the figures. Here's the figures for the Mac Mini M1. You'll see that the super duper Thunderbolt 3 dock, it transfers the 40 gigabyte file to the dock in 17 seconds. It's absolutely astonishing. But transferring it back took 58 seconds. And my good old Silverstone MS11 sends it back in 110 seconds. So can I wait the extra 10 seconds? I think I probably can. I want to say that I'm often transferring files of this size, and if you're transferring at the USB 2 rate, which is 40 megabytes per second, 40 megabytes per second, then transferring the same 40 gigabyte file takes about 30 minutes. And when I've had the computers misbehaving and I've got to transfer the files using that USB 2 rate, that is pretty painful. So there is a reason to have a not 30-minute transfer rate, but I think the difference between the 58 seconds and 110 seconds is neither here nor there. So that's the management summary, which is that both these two drives are excellent products. If it's your first entry into this world of high-speed disk interchange, you're not going to buy a USB drive, you're going to buy one of these two products. You're going to place your own M.2 PCI drive inside. Which one would I buy? Well, this is about £100 and this is about £60. So it's horses for courses. This has got this nice facility, this is amazing facility, which you can, I'm just going to plug it in again so you can see it. I mean, it's quite astonishing really. I'll just plug this in. I'm never tired of seeing this. I mean, as a systems guy. So it starts up and it says, oh, I'm just checking a few things. Then it says, oh yeah, there's some data transfer. Then it comes up with the summary screen. Let's get that out of the way so you can see it. And then it's got this these features, the way you can, I think the Mac will start to, Mac starts to do a bit of interchange of data, so I don't want to ruin the display. And then you can go to all of these three different panels. I mean, it's just hysterically interesting. So it's got all the SSD information about the SSD. How wonderful is that? So there's a case to be made for either of these products. I'm torn between, I'm not sure I'm going to keep one of them probably at the most to replace my failing drive here. But I will say this failed drive is good because ergonomically you've got this retractable USB type A, and that's very useful. But of course, on modern machines with USB-C connectors, it's not useful because you've got to carry a dongle around with you. So only in the last couple of months when I've been using more Mac products is this turned out to be not useful at all. And now it's just broken. So I think a change is necessary, and I'd happily recommend either of these two products. But you're not really going to see much of a speed increase here by buying the expensive one, and certainly don't spend a lot of money on your PCIe Express M.2 SSD because you are not going to see the speed increase inside these enclosures that the drives are capable of. Okay, Darry, that's the summary, and I hope that's been interesting for you.